The baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
The electrical workers of local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today. The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? That feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11th, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios on O Street. Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
The Link Grill, Draft, and Crafts is your spot in Southeast Lincoln for great food and drink. They're serving new menu items and a killer craft cocktail menu with your favorite draft beers. You'll love their pizza and new entree options. It's a great place to watch any live events, and they have music bingo every month. They have an aggressive loyalty program that rewards fans with 7% back on all purchases. Home of the Nebraska Power Hour every night from 8 to 9 p.m. Order online at thelnkgrill.com or stop in at 84th and Highway 2 today.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guest.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker in one more.
Des Moines Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in. Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got the host of Morning Pierson-El streaming in 402-464-5685. You guys can use the Starter Heyman text line to join in. Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo channel 961. You can use those as well to put a face to the voice. Let's go ahead and bring him in. We got the Morning Pierson-El on a rainy, another dreary Monday night. Fits the scenes of the weekend of sport, at least in my life. How's it going?
Still recovering, as you can see, so is Mother Nature. She's weeping with the rest of us.
Yeah, this was the one where, you can always say the sun's going to come out the next day.
It didn't.
It's been a couple days. The sun's like, nah, you guys deal with this. I'm sick of it too. So it just puts it into perspective. Let's talk about the things that have yet to happen before we bog this show down too much with negative energy here. Mm-hmm. NFL, we do got the Chiefs at Arrowhead hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 7:15 kickoff. Who do you got in this one?
I think the Chiefs are going to win. I don't want them to, but I think they are.
Is there any hope? I think so as well. But is there a line of hope here? For to pull it off. Without Evans, without Godwin, it's a tall task. But
if Baker woke up feeling dangerous, it possibly can. It could be part two of that shootout that they had in college. I think each quarterback had like 7 touchdowns apiece or something like that. So. Hopefully it can get to that, or rival that or something like that. He has the fewer weapons, but I mean their defense could show a force and kind of keep things even with Levante and Vita Vea on that defense to get things done.
That's kind of where my hope is. That defense for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hasn't been bad. It's been pretty solid at points in the season. And the Chiefs offense, I know they're sitting there undefeated, but they really haven't been blowing teams out of the water.
Yep.
Not the same way as what we just saw with the Broncos, where I think they scored 10 points to giving up 45, something around there. Chiefs haven't been blowing people up. So there is a way where if one of those wide receivers, being biased, I hope it's Trey Palmer, has the big day. But if they can just get open, I think that defense is good enough to keep them in it. Still going to go with the Chiefs, though. They're just sitting there undefeated. Think there's going to be a team eventually that gives them their first L. But just being at Arrowhead, too, that's a brutal place to play, especially on Monday Night Football. They're going to be amped for that one. This other game, it has started, but we're just into it. 15-41 in the first half. Nebraska up 8-6 versus UTRGV. University of Texas Rio Grande Valley.
Woo, that's a tongue twister.
Oh, they're a big one. Everybody knows them. One of the best out there. No, I mean, I don't want this little big ground, especially in basketball. You need like 2 good guys. We've seen this now with the 3-point era. We have these massive upsets. If you get a team that's feeling it, I don't care how small they are. They just need a guy that can handle the ball, not turn it over, and great 3-point shooters to get it to. And they can find wins to win ball games against Nebraska, Duke, Kansas. Take your pick. Like we see it. This is the era we're in, 3-point era. But with Nebraska, what are you expecting out of this team? There's some interesting characters. I shouldn't say characters. New players in the mix here. You watch the scrimmage. It was still a lot of 5-out stuff, kind of what they're doing last year. With Mass obviously being out, he'll be back next year. What do you expect from this Nebraska team? It's the expectation to get back to the tournament.
You have a lot of veteran players. You have a lot of guys that are coming into the program that, played or been, on this level 2, maybe 3 years or a little bit more. So I expect things to kind of pick up and gel pretty quickly. You still have a strong nucleus of the team that was there last year. So I don't expect it to be anything too wild or whatnot. It might take a little bit of time to get things gelling or whatnot, but I mean, who kind of the cowbells are going to be. Hopefully you might have a surprise there. You got the kid that's coming back home. Hopefully he lights it up from the 3-point to, to kind of help with, Tominaga's being gone and everything like that. I'm not expecting, if last year teams, if that record and everything shows up, that would be awesome. I can't say that's necessarily fair to say just because, I mean, they probably were calling very bland stuff the other night. So you kind of got to wait to kind of see them in full action and kind of get some work on consistently to kind of see exactly what we got. Because I mean, some big pieces are gone that's been in the program for a while or whatnot. You got other people coming in trying to pick up pieces or whatnot, but hopefully because that they're older and understand the game of football, they can plug in and play and be consistent and hopefully get back to remotely close of what things were. Hopefully undefeated again at home and see where things go.
That's where I'm at with this team, but I'm going to put the bar higher because you got to have the foundation set at some point. I like Fred Hoiberg. I think Nebraska is a really tough place to recruit to get basketball players, mainly because the state of Nebraska, we just haven't done a good job producing great players. And a lot of that's just I go back to that shot clock, how it took so long to get here. I think it did hurt guys producing wise, because when you're on a clock, it makes you work through your crunch time offense and just figure out ways. Let me go get a bucket here. I got to have something in my bag of tools to just that I can pull off when needed. We've seen so many games in the playoffs where they just hold on to the ball just a way to hold on and get a win, where it wasn't great basketball. And on top of that, you can also just argue there's not a lot of great circuits around here where the best players are typically going out of state on some of these other AAU circuits. So it's a tough place recruiting wise because it's always been a football state.
Yep.
And on top of that, and just some of the ways we've officiated in basketball here in Nebraska has never made a whole lot of sense. But as I'm talking, you're seeing Bryce Williams be solid right out of the gates. And we're talking about this on Old School. Is this going to be like last year where there's no real leader? You can compare it to the Celtics in the NBA, or is this to me, Bryce Williams, Juwan Gary, take your poison type?
I think it's going to be a combination of those two, with pretty much your other weapons either hurt or gone or unproven, guys type limelight. I mean, I would expect them to step up and kind of take the most of that, mantle with things and whatnot. And later in the season, you kind of seen that, like, Tom Managa was doing it was doing his thing and everything like that, but the offense was gelling off of those guys' energy on defense and offense. It wasn't just and not to say he was just one-sided or anything like that,
right?
But they were playing energetic on both ends of the ball, and I think that was contagious for everybody, and that was kind of the grit, grind it out type of thing.
I hope to see it though, because I will say Pinnacle Bank Arena took a life I never saw at any point since I've been alive for Nebraska basketball. You probably got to go back to maybe Teron Petaway days with Tim Miles.
That was nice.
Really far back to Strickland, Tyloo, that era where that team was, and I think they won the Big 12 conference at one point. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've won, but they were at least always in contention. Like that group you had to worry about. Teron Petaway, Siobhan Shields, that era as well.
Yeah.
And this big slate of, does anybody even care about this program? Like, it was kind of sad to see the attendance. Nebraska fans show up for anything, but we had so many bad years in a row where it's like the energy, it was getting a little bit apathetic. You'll never have to worry about that with the football program, but you can push it to
maybe
as we're doing that right now.
Maybe
there was a mass exodus, if you want to call it, for that UCLA game, but at the same time, I don't think in the offseason, there's always something that'll at least give you a chance. I don't, maybe you can get bad enough where it's apathetic at a time, and we'll dive into that. But I do think there's always something in the offseason where Nebraska fans are going to gravitate to give them hope. We're just too damn good at this point. But as I'm talking here, they're up 9-14. I do think this is a team where if they just handle the little things right, and this is what bothered me last year, if you rebound the way you're supposed to rebound, you're going to have good enough 3-point shooting and turnovers.
Yeah.
This is a team that last year too, in my opinion, didn't take advantage enough of fast break opportunities. If you do those things in the Big Ten, you look at the roster, the guards, you got 6'7", 6'5". You're bringing in the Burke from Turkey. He's sitting there he's a giant double machine. Like, this team's big enough to where they should be able to rebound and fare better against the team like what they saw against Texas A&M, a really physical downhill team who just happened to have one of their best shooting nights as well. But you even saw Houston, who's made to stop teams at the paint, kind of go back and forth to Texas A&M. So that to me is good that we got some size there.
The thing with that, like even if you look at Houston, like of course that outside shooting was well, but they were getting easy buckets. They weren't just forcing, threes. If they're driving, mid-range pull up, players, I won't say that were calling their shot, but they were comfortable and confident with an easy two. It wasn't necessarily we down or momentum or a heat check or anything like that. And I feel like at times we kind of like lived and died by the three. And then later in the season, it kind of got out of it. And then going into the tournament, we just didn't start off well. And if that wasn't falling, and it just felt like the dominoes were falling. So I think definitely this year with a big man's, presence who is, physically, there and whatnot, you can do pick and roll and stuff and everything like that. People are going to have to, hedge to make sure he doesn't get an easy toe with that. So I think that will definitely open up easier shots or people, for cutting to the lane and getting to the basket and just, hopefully that they can take advantage of that and not just forced to live beyond the arc.
Yeah, because that's the thing with, and I hate to keep going back to this Texas A&M game, but it was a really good staple of what the Nebraska team was, and they just happened to play a team that was on fire. But Tamanaga was lighting it up in that game. Like, you got the experience if you're there to watch him. Like, it was back and forth trading bombs. The problem is when Texas A&M finally did slow down, they could go downhill as well. And to keep that offensive train moving, when we cooled off from three-point land, you're absolutely right. Yeah, we couldn't keep up with them offensively anymore. We were searching for the three-point shot the rest of that first half, and the second half came back to life a little bit. But when you're just getting beat downhill by a team that's physical like Texas A&M, that was kind of the weakness. And Mast, he can put together great games, but he wasn't a defensive stalwart.
Yeah.
This is the team, to your point. Yes, we don't have the center, I don't think, that's going to be able to just be that quick off his feet to be a real elite shot blocker. You'll be able to contest people, but you got a lot of big guards, energetic guards off the bench like a Sam Hoiberg, and then some really athletic and long wings. If you can get those guys to buy in on defense, I don't see why this can't be one of the better teams on defensive. I get size-wise, but the athleticism and the length, they can be really dangerous if they're twitchy and they actually communicate, and it can start a lot of fast breaks for these teams. All right, switching over to the last thing I got here. Already happened. Wisconsin volleyball, I know they also went and they swept their next opponent as well in Northwestern, but they did sweep Wisconsin. I mean, this team for volleyball, if you got a frown after the Husker game, just turn on volleyball. They've been delivering over and over.
I think that's been the remedy for a while
years
now. They dating back to even when I was in school. Shout out to them for carrying the torch. I'll say it is what it is. But they're an exciting bunch. They're coming together. The things that you kind of seen early on and what coach was talking about, they've shifted. They've grown up. They've gotten their act together. Now hopefully that they can sustain this and turn up the notch and just run the table, all the way and hopefully bring in a national championship back home.
Yeah, I was impressed, especially when I saw the stat line. That was the first time since 2013 that Nebraska's actually gone over there and ripped the game away from them. I didn't realize it had been that dominant. I knew it was always a problem because Wisconsin, give their fan base credit. That's another program, and the Big Ten as a whole is just pretty good at this. But Wisconsin in particular, they really get behind their volleyball program. It's a tough place to play, and especially when Nebraska's walking in the door, Wisconsin likes their odds. Just looking at the past, and they go in there, and it was a sweep, but a convincing sweep. There was no 24-26. It was 25-18, 25-20. Like they took care of business in a way that was convincing. So now they're at a point where they just got to they can't get complacent.
Yeah.
I mean, we're coming to a stretch here with fall sports where you're starting to size up for the playoffs. That's a team that's just got to keep getting better, but they're looking good. And if they haven't peaked yet, this could be their year, just the way they've been looking. Because, I mean, if you haven't peaked after a sweep versus Wisconsin on the road, I love to see it. They definitely have gone and grown since that SMU sweep early. Then we come to realize SMU is also just a very good program. It's nothing to hang your hat about what you maybe thought at the beginning. But it's a program that, like I said, if this isn't their peak, then the rest of the volleyball league better look out because they are going to be a problem. And that goes without saying. They've been a problem every year. Final thing on the women's side, Nebraska basketball, they played at noon for Nebraska women's basketball. They take care of business. Again, you're playing some weaker opponents, but still, you win by 44 points. You're feeling pretty good. Markowski gets the double-double. You get to see the debut of the local kid, Britt Prince. She plays. She looks good as well. This women's team, they won their first round in the NCAA tournament in March Madness. They dropped the second one. What's the goal for this women's team who's bringing some talent back? And on top of that, Britt Prince is going to be a storyline the whole way through.
I mean, they were right there. They went to the Big Ten championship, if I'm not mistaken, right? Correct?
Yeah, they fell to Iowa, but they did push
Iowa.
them.
Yeah, so I mean, that would be the goal, to get back there and kind of stack and add the years and kind of not your coming out party to this is the new standard of what things are, but Coach has gotten a player. She's recruited well. They gel together well. Like you said, they got a number of players coming back. They could very well be, right back in the Big Ten championship. They can very well be, right back in the second round, and things are going. Like I think that is very obtainable, for them. It's just, health, figuring out, what the new team necessarily looks like. Some people are going to have to step up. Everybody's going to have their hand in things. But that coach, she coaches them hard. She makes sure people are in the right spots. And she gets after people. So, I mean, they're typically, on par with just being disciplined and everything like that. So I don't see why they wouldn't be able to, get back to the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, and that's a team that for these past few years in particular, you give Amy Williams, head coach, credit. They do really well under pressure.
Yeah.
Because they ironically played Texas A&M as well. It did feel like the March Madness was setting that up with the Trev Albertson, who was heading over from Nebraska to Texas A&M. But that game was close. Like A&M had a chance to kind of come back. They were making a good run. And I know it wasn't pretty, but they still did just enough to take home the win and make sure to get out of that first round. And we've seen this Nebraska basketball team, unfortunately, kind of implode in some of those moments where the other team starting to fight back, and Nebraska, turnovers, missed opportunities, missed bunnies. And then all of a sudden the pressure really turns on and we've seen this team crumble. I thought last year was a good step on getting rid of that. I still just tip my cap to Texas A&M for what they're able to pull off.
Yeah.
But I do want to see this team continue to get better. And as I'm talking, I mentioned it, the problem for this team for me isn't going to be, I can live with the tough rebounding battles, but you got to control the controllables. And that is me, turnovers, certainly. And then reboundings, it's an energy thing. They're sitting here down 21-19 with 9 minutes left in the first. And it's not a 3-point barrage. Both teams are sitting there. It is a little bit of a 3-point barrage. They're 6 of 15 shooting 40%. But the key factor is I'm looking at it. Nebraska's got 8 turnovers already. That's how you give those teams life. And they're going to keep taking threes. And if they get hot here, which again, 40
get ugly.
It can get ugly. And if you're going to keep coughing the ball up, you're going to give these teams life. So they're down only 2 points. It's only the first half. But it's also the first game. But I've said it and I'll keep saying it. Turnovers have been a massive problem for this Nebraska basketball team. And if they want to be competitive in the Big Ten, turnovers will just make it borderline impossible. Unless you're going to shoot lights out every night, good luck. Hopefully it's just a little bit of first game rust. I'm willing to buy into that for now.
For sure.
But we'll keep you updated. 21-19, Nebraska basketball. We're going to talk NFL and Husker football up next. Don't go anywhere. Don't Punt Hour with the morning Pierson-El.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through November 12th is $2 off all crackers, $2 off on grind, $3 off on salami, and buy one, get one free on stew beef. Limit of 2. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Across Nebraska, voters will have the chance to end the current government abortion ban. The government shouldn't be making decisions for families' health care, but right now they are. Ending the ban takes 2 votes. A vote against 434, the first initiative, and then a vote for 439, the last initiative. It's only this combination that will finally get the government out of the personal medical decisions of Nebraska families. Voting against 434 and for 439 ensures that when there's a medical emergency, it's Nebraska families who decide what to do, not the government. This vote against 434 and for 439 makes it so our Nebraska doctors can treat every patient. The government put this ban in place, stripping Nebraska families of their freedom, but you can end it with 2 votes. The first against 434, and then vote for 439. Paid for by Protect Our Rights.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Hi, I'm State Senator Bo Ballard. I was born and raised right here in Lancaster County. I understand the value of hard work by being involved in our family business. I built my own company, creating jobs right here in our community. Nebraska families and business owners need lower taxes, more affordable health care, and a great education system. That is why I fought for the largest tax cut in Nebraska history, reduce the cost of health care, and help pass the biggest investment in our public schools. I'm Senator Bo Ballard, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th. Paid for by Ballard for Nebraska.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
This is State Senator Carolyn Bozin. Public safety is important in our community. I have a proven record of protecting public safety. I have prosecuted perpetrators of domestic violence, advocated for the rights of child abuse victims, held sexual predators accountable, and fought to keep drug traffickers off our streets. This is Senator Carolyn Bozin, and I will continue to fight to keep our community safe. Vote Carolyn Bozin on November 5th. Paid for by Bozin for Legislature.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. See a chance of showers throughout the day. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and brief with the high around 59. Tonight, showers likely with the low around 42. And tomorrow, a chance of showers in the morning, then mainly sunny skies in the afternoon with the high around 55. Meteorologist Kyle Buck from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, good morning, Pierson-El. Yeah, the basketball game still is just looking questionable right now. We'll kind of put it at rest right there, and we'll tell you how the second half goes. Let's talk about the thing that we know was awful. Husker football. Just, again, I'll say this. I said it on the last hour with Tom Chattel. Hook, line, and sinker, I bid on the championship mindset. In hindsight, I think that was more him saying that for the players than it was the fans. I don't think it was intentional, smoke and mirrors, but it certainly worked that way for me. I thought we would stop seeing the slow starts. I thought guys were starting to get it. I saw another team that failed to not only execute, but failed to bring or even match the energy UCLA had. Your thoughts?
It's sickening and sad. I mean, I don't want to point the finger and everything like that because I've been on the other side and on the outside looking in. Everybody's bashing you, but at some point in time, it's not all on the coaches. And I mean, the players gotta step up and show and do stuff. But as coaches, you have a job to get the players ready. And I don't understand why it's necessarily been so inconsistent for the offensive side. I mean, the offense is doing the same thing it's been doing the whole season.
I'd say they've gotten worse.
It was bad before, it's still bad now. I mean, the difference was we were good enough or consistent enough to pull out victories. Everybody's, oh, do this and do that and everything like that. And they don't do the simple things well enough or, assignment driven well to where, I'm not the reason why certain things are causing, the mess ups or stalling the offense and everything like that. That has their side. And then, from the offensive play calling side, just setting up and getting the offense in a rhythm of things and whatnot. It all seems a struggle, but it seems like both sides are butting heads. And we find ourselves in the same position as we were last year. And we had way more turnovers and look completely different this year, but yet, same position when we shouldn't have been. Easily we shouldn't have been.
Yeah, I mean, to go from a 3-game losing skid, it's for fans. I get it. Why you want to say "here we go again"? How much does that resonate in the locker room? That "here we go again"?
Honestly, probably at this point, so many people tune it out. Like they're not even paying attention necessarily to what people are saying. People are frustrated, clearly, to a certain extent. They're not paying attention to certain stuff because you still going out there, you still messing up, on multiple assignments to where you just can't execute simple, assignments and everything like that. So now it gets to the point to where, what are we looking at evaluating and rewarding these players with playing time if they're not doing their job? If they're not, ready to play or, championship mentality and everything like that. Brag on a dog, he'll piss on your carpet. And that's exactly what they're doing right now.
Yeah. And what drives me up a wall is it feels fixable. Like they just look like execution things. Like there's times where I'm watching the corners not know where their help is over top and being on the wrong side and making it an easy throw for the quarterback. And it's not just one guy, but the defense kind of having these loafs has been surprising for me the most. The offense not getting anything figured out at this point is concerning of just not really having an identity. I mean, what do you make of it? Last week it was this, screen gate, if you want to call it that. This week we didn't see a lot of screens, but we still saw an offense that was stalling out just about every drive.
I mean, on the defensive side of things, and because to me, the defense is out there more so than the offense. As some games, the offense has converted and moved the ball and everything like that. But for the majority of it, the defense is out there. You got young guys, you got people hurt, late in this season and everything like that. Lapse of communication, lapse of judgment, lapse of focus, which happens and everything like that. But the defense still, for the most part, kept us in a winnable game.
They shut down the hatches in the second half, to give them credit.
So, I mean, outside of the pick six, I mean,
21 points.
We can say, oh, you take that off the board. Like, it's coming off a bye week. They're going to give you certain wrinkles and everything like that you might not see or might not be prepared for, which is fine or whatnot. But that got shut down. You still got to go out there and make plays. You still got to go out there and tackle. Told you with the quarterback and his legs and everything like that would be, something to watch out for. And it kind of bit us a little bit. But we haven't been playing, complementary football. Like, defense has done majority their job, and offense has been on the struggle bus. Since the beginning, at times we look good against teams that we should have looked good against. But even when it's something competitive or coming down to it, it's running down our leg. There's no rhyme or reason to the offense of what's being set up. And I understand he may be wanting to do certain things. People may be missing, assignments or whatnot, but motions, certain I don't think we're getting the best out of players in certain situations. I don't understand why we keep throwing, Fedoni to the flat. Instead of using him as a threat down the field, where we seen against the number 13 team in the nation, he had one of his best career games, and yet we've moved further from that. And we still seen, our wide receivers have they made some plays, yes, here and there, but I mean that play is inconsistent from the outside. It's all just, to me, throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks. Missed opportunity, missed assignments, not getting things, in a rhythm. And you don't do anything well. And yet at time you can move the ball down the field in 7-8 plays. And then yet, the first half, you only get 3, you get a 3 and out. And so it's just a lot of miscommunication. Certain things aren't happening. Execution isn't happening. Details necessarily aren't happening, because if it was happening, stuff would be executed. And even, with the simpler stuff, again, I don't think we're utilizing what some of our better players can do well. We're not putting them in those positions to thrive. We're kind of babying and short, consistent. And people have picked up on that and made what we were somewhat successful at. They've taken that away, and you got to beat us a different way. You throw that on top of people not necessarily making consistent enough plays, and you have what we have. We get into the red zone, can't score. You get to the 20-yard line, you can't move the ball. It looks, I won't even say one-dimensional. You don't know whether you want to run the ball, you want to throw the ball. You don't have design plays confident enough to, again, utilize our players in those type of spaces and everything like that. And it's costing us games. It's costing us points. And for him to be, for the coaching staff or for Rule to be as detailed as he is, or a handle on things and whatnot, for it to get how it has gotten before he's done something or taken over, the bye week, he took over special teams and everything like that. Something along the lines of that, you play calling, or the other co-offensive play caller who's been calling offenses for, a number of years, of changing certain things up. We still have yet to see that, or they might have changed it and just haven't necessarily come out with things. But it's the same thing over and over each week, and you expect, something to change of it when it's not looking consistent. It's not looking, execution is not looking good. And then you throw, inconsistent playmaking ability from wide receivers, the lack of opportunity from the tight end, and mixing bowl of running backs. You got the revolving door of running backs going in and whatnot. I mean, you wonder why things aren't firing. There's no consistent play at just about at any position, on the field outside of, the quarterback handling things. And that's not on his fault for a freshman to, be in that position and everything like that for what he has done and everything like that. Yes, it's fine for him to step into that, but he has to get better. Things have to move forward. And I'm not so sure, what's that going to look like, with what's been going on. I mean, he's had 9 games, and he hasn't looked like the first 4 games in a while.
Yeah, and that just goes to be we're just kind of getting trapped in a bottle on defense of like we're not very hard to read. And so Dylan Raiola is having to go against coverages that feel pretty perfectly called, which is still, at times that's fine if you can execute where you need to execute. There's always a matchup, and I think it speaks to the lack of explosive plays is if you're going to have an explosive play, you usually need all 11 guys to execute on that said play.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we're not getting any just means we've consistently been one block away, one bad route away where we have it's set up, but you got to make the guy, you got to get some separation or you got to get the block on the edge. And we're just always one step away from having things really take off. And when you got a freshman QB back there, he's learning on the job. You got to help him out. And that goes to wide receivers. That goes for Fedoni. When he's scrambling, you got to do something to get open and be a target where he can help you out. And if you're that offensive line and you see something as the center where you're like, hold on, this guy's got a house call right here, or this we were out blocked here. There's no way we'll pull this off. We got a free man coming no matter what. You got to bark. Like someone's got to help. There's some check downs where I've noticed he needed to check out of it. But if you're the center, you got to be able to bark those things out. There's just small things communication wise. It's just not all clicking at all.
Where's the quick game? Where's the the dragging, the slants with the drags, the double slants to the flat, the stick, just straight out, flood concepts to at least get things rolling. There's no you go out there, the energy is piss poor. There's no, I don't want to say playmaking ability, but there's no getting into a rhythm and kind of building up on things and everything like that. It's either hand the ball off, for a yard, a screen here or there, or a shot down the field, or some type of in-breaking route. Where's 2 minutes? Try something different. Speed up the tempo to get people running, playing fast, and everything like that. Simple stuff that moves the ball, get the ball out of your hands fast and everything like that, to move down the field. Have them, come up, play man or play zone and everything like that. Then you start picking them apart. Or if they get out of man, then you start, running the ball. And if they get back into, stacking the box, then you get back to, okay, your mesh routes and everything like that. There's just no setup. There's no, after the first couple of plays or whatever, or even it looks like, the first 15 plays, there's no, setting up certain things because the run game is not available. Then people testing you and daring you to throw it deep in, we're not necessarily doing that. So people are daring you or don't respect you to do certain things, and we end up coming out flat, not having energy, and it looks like how it looked against UCLA versus you coming out against Ohio State, getting PIs, making plays and everything like that, at least fighting for it. So it has to stop, or the coaches has to do a better job of getting it out of the kids better.
The one thing that bothers me, at least from like a coaching perspective, and you can always go back to like some of these players, you can go find tape where you just, they do need to execute more. There's only so much the coach can say. But in that UCLA game in particular, it's like there's times where it's like, let's speed things up. I get it, we're a huddle offense. But when you got a team in UCLA who's doing all this eye candy on defense, their entire pre-snap, they're just talking, communicating, setting all this up and trying to show you, a blitz just to drop out of it. They're talking and doing all this communication to get eye candy on Dylan Raiola, where he's having a hard time trying to pick up what that defense is. Speed it up. Don't let them get into that setup at all, and it works where we just if they want to do all that quick handoff, Dowdell's at least shown he'll punch it forward and fall forward.
You can, there's things to identify what the defense want to do. Change up your cadence, go on 2, have some type of motion and everything like that to identify. I remember, being with the Raiders and everything like that, and Coach Gruden. Every play that he ran had some type of motion, if not 2 motions, to identify a hard count of something to, okay, well, y'all want to spin on this, okay, or y'all are blitzing and sitting and everything, okay, we got a hot read here and there to identify, slow the game up and whatnot. And it's very bland. We either go strength to the field or strength to the boundary, whatever, get out there and go. And you're not necessarily gathering any or as much information as you can from what the defense is going to do. We got, guys that are in college. I'm pretty sure you can hold your water. You can go on 2. You know what I'm saying? You can silent count things or whatever, or go on 3 if you practice those things to where people are going to spin out. People are going to be anxious and tip their hat. Then you can get to a play, okay, exit motion or a zoom motion or orbit motion to identify, what defense are what they're going to be. Are they in man or are they in zone? And I don't think we utilize that enough to gather as much information with a freshman quarterback that will see it, that will understand, okay, they're playing this, and will get to the right call or be able to throw, the right choice on a route or anything like that. It's just like I said, you're just lining up and just going with it. And if they catch me, they catch me. Well, we've been caught.
Yeah, multiple times. We are officially the hunted. All right, like teams, and again, it goes back to, like, I get it. Like, Nebraska hasn't won a lot of games, but we are still considered a quote unquote blue blood program. UCLA sitting here at 2-5 is like, this is a great opportunity to get a win that means something. Even they don't give a damn about Nebraska's recent struggles. Like, this team still is a big win to go ahead and wrap your win column and put it under there. I mean, like, yeah, we beat Nebraska in Lincoln. That's a tough place to play
for sure.
And you could, we saw it with Colorado. But that's the thing that, that kind of bothers me is, like, whatever we could do to capture that energy from Colorado, that week of preparation, not just game day, whatever that was needs to be replicated every single week.
It meant something. It was a purpose. You had it on your mind. Same thing with Ohio State. You had it on your mind. You were pissed off and everything like that. And if some of these players don't have the will to go out there and, okay, well, do that for themselves, or self-motivated, or get their mind right to be able to play and everything like that, then you don't need to be out there. You don't need to be necessarily a starter. Because it's a team, and you're only, as strong as your weakest link. And if people don't care, or people are, missing assignments, or, we'll get it. There's no excuse. It wasn't an early game. You were the bigger, better team, but the team that showed up, they had more of a fight. You got hit in the mouth and kind of just you went with the punches, and that's the thing that's kind of pissing, I think, a lot of people off, because it's not only, people kind of aiming at the coach, but I think, at times the kids didn't show up and play. At some point in time, the kids got to put their pants on and go out there and hit somebody in their mouth. And I think more so the defense has done that job more so than the offense of kind of being the hammer and not the nail. And you throw that in with the wonderful play calling and whatnot, and look what we have.
Yeah, and throwing a Miss PAT, a doinker, just for the cherry on top. Just so many things where I don't know what it is, called a mind virus. Yeah, it's just frustrating, because there's certain things at this point in the season, like, you let a 2-5 UCLA team, and I'm not saying they're not a bad team, but you're letting them talk crazy to you before the game, just disrespect you right off the bat. and then you're going to sit there on an 8-minute drive and let them punch you in the face. Okay, that's one thing. They punch you in the face, but not respond after it as well. Like, say what you will about Scott Frost. Damn it, we had a scripted drive at least that worked. Like, we could at least go get 7 on a scripted drive because we at least did enough tape research. There's nothing that these guys can draw up on that first drive even. It's just brutal to watch. It's like, if that's what we got for the first drive, I don't know what it's going to look like for the rest of the half. And that's been the case over and over and over again. It's alarming when what they dialed up, what they sunk their teeth in all week in preparation does not work at all, and it's 3 and out. And then you go to your next series and it's 3 and out. Yeah, the panic starts setting in a little bit, and you can look at the stats. They don't look as bad because they did come back, but that's credit for the defense shutting down the hatches despite that pick 6. Really only gave up 21 points. I mean, that's pretty much I got on this Husker game. We got one comment in here. I don't think you're going to take the offer, but from Roberto off YouTube, DPE should become a graduate assistant. Our wideouts need help. Imagine Barney Coleman and Lloyd could do with your help. They still got a couple years left.
Maybe one day.
What would you say to him hypothetically if you were to take the spot?
I'm not saying it's off the table, but that's just not something I'm pursuing at the moment or whatnot. It's just like I said, I don't think it's more so of a mindset and getting ready to play and everything like that. And I credit my receiver coach who had our whole room playing from his time at Nebraska. Whether that's blocking, whether that's it wasn't people were making play, and that was of habits that was instilled in practice. Not to say
There's
that
every player out there. That's what's so impressive. It was that wide receiver core. I mean, that was an era of exceptional wide receiver play in my eyes.
And so, we got after it at practice. Not to say that they didn't or anything like that. Not to compare or anything like that. Even before me, because I came in with Kenny or whatnot. We were still competing, at practice and everything like that. So it's just, I don't necessarily know exactly what it is or what's going on or whatnot, but, from the outside looking in, people just don't have it on their mind enough to, okay, well, why not and make the play or, watch this and make the play and not be the person that, well, that play happened on me. It was, I didn't do my job enough, and I just laid down and took it. So that's just a difference of, like I said, from what I was coaching and what I see with things. And people, other positions can take that approach or whatnot and everything like that. I remember at Nebraska, we had Dante, the DB's coach. He and we had I can't remember the DC. He came from Notre Dame.
Last year's Bo Pelini?
No, not Bo Pelini. This is after Bo Pelini. The dude that came from Notre Dame. I can't think of his name. But he was an energy type of person. Regardless, the defense got it in, and it was a battle at practice. I just can't think of his name. I can see his face. He was at LSU. I just can't think of his name. Oh, it's pissing me off. He was on their national championship team.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm gonna cheat here. We got a good old Google machine.
I see him black
Diaco,
hair.
right?
Diaco, that's his name. Yeah, and he was a psychopath. But I mean,
Yeah,
at practice, he's running up and down the field after players straining and everything like that. Then you have the receiver coach running up and down the field after us playing fast and everything. Then you got the DB coach running across the field, so it was controlled chaos. But when it came time to game day, what we were doing in practice showed up. So, I mean, the tape doesn't lie. I'm pretty sure if you would go to practice and see certain things or whatnot, unless everybody's just practice All-Americans, then that's another issue. But I doubt that because we've seen them operate at a high level. Now it's just being more consistent at doing it.
Yeah. Well, it's just, it's a wait and see. It's a bye week. We got 2 weeks of excruciating media. It'll get better as we get closer to game day. People buying some hope, but it's going to be choice words for these press conferences, especially when Satterfield has to get back out there. I mean, there's going to be some hard-hitting questions. You heard Matt Rule even today sound pretty frustrated. Listening to Tom Chattel, I think he's right. I mean, he's rebuilt programs. He knows how to hit the buttons, but I think this is one of the hardest. It's one of the hardest places to lose, because when you lose here, the engagement doesn't go away. If anything, it goes up.
For sure.
And people sink their teeth into everything. And I really think he's sitting there like, I don't know which button I have to hit to get these guys to be hungry and pissed off. Like, it's the Colorado game. Like, that was, to your point, very thought-committed execution. Like, very detailed, because they were not going to let this team embarrass them on national TV. You got to have that mindset every game, especially when you got a Cali club coming from the beautiful city of LA to the Midwest of Lincoln Memorial Stadium. Like, you think cornfields are going to scare them? No, they're going to come in here and want to take you of your lunch money, and we let it happen. And at a certain point, we got to stop letting teams come into Lincoln in particular, of all places. And it's got to look like that Colorado game where it's like, man, Lincoln is just a different environment to win games. With that being said, I'll wrap things up here. Nebraska, they are up at the end of the first half. Nebraska,
there we go.
42-36. Pulling away a little bit. Hopefully it's more in the second half. Good morning, Pierson-El. Appreciate it as always. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.